Hey, Allison Verhalen here with AV Writing Services, and I did it again. I just finished my webinar on the secrets to writing the best sales pages, and probably about halfway through the presentation, I realized I had completely forgotten to hit record. So I'm going to go through this all over again just for you. So here's the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen and do this all over. I get to do it all over again. I'm so lucky. So it's because I love doing this so much. That's why. So the secrets to writing the best sales pages, hopefully you already know the title of this presentation and that's why you're here. But just in case you forgot, or maybe you found this some other way, this is all about the secrets to writing the best sales pages, presented by myself, Allison Verhalen, content marketer, SEO strategist, and owner of AV Writing Services, LLC. So your sales pages, I think a lot of people concentrate on getting people to their website and showing up in Google, and they don't always think about the next step. You know, it's like they put all their effort into getting people to their website, which is great, but then it's like they forget that they have to do more stuff after that. They have to convince people to actually buy from them, and sometimes there are more steps between getting them to the website and getting them to buy, and sometimes it's just straight to the website and buy what you're selling. So we are going to go over some of the best strategies to help you actually turn those website visitors into buyers. So the first thing, who am I? My name is Allison Verhalen. If you know anything about me, you might have heard my origin story already, but if you are completely new to me, my story is that I majored in English and psychology in college. Little did I know that was the perfect degree for content marketing. I had no idea what content marketing was. I thought I wanted to work in publishing. I graduated in 2009, right after the job market crashed. So there really were no jobs to be had in publishing or anywhere else. So I was a receptionist, I was in customer service. They were jobs, they were not careers. Found myself between jobs at one point, and my roommate at the time, her dad, who was an attorney, was awesome and offered to give me stuff to do while I got back on my feet. So one of the things he needed was someone to write blog posts for his law firm. He knew that I had majored in English, that I had really strong writing skills. He offered me the gig, and I was more than happy to get paid to write. That has always been my dream. So I started by looking through his blog posts. He had been writing them himself, and they were terrible. You know, he started out pretty strong, the first one or two paragraphs, okay, great. And then in the next paragraph, he would jump to something completely different. And I had no idea how he had gotten from point A to point B. So I really had to sit there and struggle with it for a while until I figured it out. I did eventually figure it out, but only because he was paying me to do so. If I had been a prospect, I would have clicked away and said, okay, thanks, I'm going to find what I need somewhere else because this is not helping me. So I was more than happy to take over his blog post because I knew I could do better than that. So I did. I wrote about 2 to 4 blog posts per month for him. They were fairly short. Each one was only about 400 to 500 words. And after 6 months, he told me I had brought in $75,000 worth of business to his law firm just through the blog post I was writing for him. Now, suffice to say, he was not paying me 150 grand a year to write blog posts for him. So his return on that investment was significant. So it really was worth his while to make sure that he had a professional creating that content, because I could do it in a way that actually engaged people, it spoke to their pain points, and it convinced them that, yeah, they really do need these legal services. So that was the blog, but then you need your sales pages, your landing pages. We're going to talk a little bit about the difference between sales pages versus landing pages. One of the things I hear a lot about blogs is people, if they're just starting their website, maybe they are not entirely clear on what a blog page is. It is a page on your website. So you have posts that go onto your blog page that are on your website. So it's each blog post is also kind of its own page. It's going to have its own URL. The blog page is going to have its own URL. Usually it's just, you know, your domain /blog. And then any blog post is going to be your domain /blog /title of the post, right? In my case, it's my domain / the publication date / title of the post. So that's what your blog is, but your sales pages and your landing pages are going to be static pages that do not change. You're not going to update them. You're not going to, not that you can't go in and change the content, but this is not something where you are regularly publishing new content. That's what your blog is for. But with a sales page, obviously it is designed to sell. A landing page can sell something. It can also be a sales page, but you can also have landing pages that are not designed to sell anything. So for example, you've got your about page, your home page. Those are landing pages. They are not sales pages. They are not designed to sell anything. So the first thing you need to do is be really specific about what it is you are offering. Do not have multiple calls to action. So for example, when I was talking with my business coach about this presentation and I was wondering what my call to action at the end should be, and she started with one or two of my products or services and then kept going into like, well, but you could also offer this, or you could talk about such and such, or you can do X, Y, Z. And it was like, well, then I have like all of these calls to action. And that can be really overwhelming for a prospect, especially someone who's not sure that they really want to buy. So maybe you just stick to one, maybe two calls to action at the very most. But I always recommend being as specific as you can about your calls to action and just narrowing it down to the one thing that you are selling on this particular page. Each of your products and services should have its own sales page. So don't try to overload everyone on one page with all the products and services you offer. Just leave it at one and be really specific about the benefits of that particular product or service. Keywords, right? So this goes back to everyone wants to show up in Google. Everyone should want to show up in Google and should be doing their best. And a big part of that is keywords. There are a lot of elements to what Google thinks makes you worthy of being paired with certain searches and rising in the ranks of all the content that's out there. I will do a whole other webinar on that. But for right now, let's just talk about keywords, because that's one of the first things Google looks at, right? People are going to put something in a search bar. They're going to put some text there, or these days it's voice search, right? People are speaking into their microphone and saying, this is what I need. So Google takes that and goes, okay, well, over here, we have this content and it has these phrases in there, and these phrases and words match what this person was saying. So we're going to match this together. So when someone searches that, that's when your website is likely to come up if you have the right keywords. So make sure you use the right keywords. I could talk all day about keywords and how to do keyword research. I'm going to try to go through just the basics right now, which is that you want to make sure that you have a decently high search volume, but not a super high SEO competition rate. The search volume, by the way, the number they're going to give you is the average monthly search volume. So that is not the total number of searches that keyword has ever gotten. That is on average how many searches it gets per month. So even if it's only like a few hundred or a few thousand searches, that can still be really great for you if you show up on the first page of Google and you're getting even a handful of those people to your website, or a small percentage of those people to your website every time you show up in a search. That can equal a significant amount of traffic to your website. So there are a few benefits to the lower search volume. One is that it usually has a lower competition rate. The competition rate is a number from 1 to 100, 1 being there's no other content out there with that keyword. It's super easy to rank for, you got it. 100 being there's a ton of content out there with that keyword. You don't have a chance of showing up for that particular keyword. So don't even try. So you want to find that sweet spot. I would recommend below like 40 or 35. I know the keyword tool I use is SearchStat, and SearchStat recommends even lower, like below 20 or 25. Again, obviously, the lower you go, the better your chances of showing up on the first page of Google. If you've got a decent amount of content and a decent domain authority, you can go up to 40, maybe even 45 as an SEO competition rate, because then you still have a greater than 50% chance of showing up on the first page of Google. So something to keep in mind, and keep in mind that the long tail keywords are also really good. Those tend to have There are a couple advantages. On the one hand, they do tend to have a slightly lower search volume, but they do also tend to have a lower competition rate. The other advantage is when people are looking for a long tail keyword, short tail keyword is 1 to 2 words, right? Like content marketer, SEO, those are short tail keywords. Long tail keywords tends to be 3 to 5 words long. If you're talking about legal services in the Chicagoland area, right? That's a long tail keyword, and someone searching that is looking for something very specific. So when they find it, they're more likely to take that next step in the buyer journey because they are actively looking for that particular product or service. So keep that in mind when you're doing your keyword research, and keep in mind the intent behind the keyword that people are using. You might have a nice long juicy keyword, but maybe someone is just searching how to do something themselves, or why they need XYZ. In that case, they're looking for information. So that is going to go on your blog where you can direct them to that information. But maybe they're looking to hire someone, or they're looking to buy a particular product, and then they're going to look, those search terms will include things like best, because they're comparing products or services, or the best price for XYZ if they're comparison shopping. So keep that in mind, and use those kinds of keywords on your sales pages. The informational keywords don't belong on your sales page, because that's not what people are looking for when they're using those particular search terms. Make sure it's the right length. So you've probably heard that longer content is better, and when that comes to blog posts, that is absolutely true. Your blog posts should, last I heard, the average blog post to show up on the first page of Google was like 1,750 words, right? So that's like 3.5 pages if you're writing it up in a Word document, single space. So that's a lot of content. But those tend to be like the really in-depth, like full guides on how to do such and such, or full guide on XYZ, or breakdown of whatever it is you're teaching them in that particular blog post, which is great for a blog post. That's not really what you want to do for your sales page. That's not what people are going to your sales page for. Yes, they want to know about the product or service that you're offering. Yes, they want to know about the benefits and why they should be buying it. But they're not necessarily looking for the full breakdown where you go over every single little thing about that product or service. And that's not what they're interested in. So the sweet spot for sales pages, I find, tends to be around 400 to 600 words. Use the right call to action. So obviously the call to action is going to be for them to buy something. It is a sales page. We already talked about how the goal of the sales page is to sell something. But make sure that your call to action has some urgency behind it, right? Just don't say, okay, you can buy this, thanks. They might. People who really need it, or just really want that particular product or service, are probably going to buy anyway, especially if they already like what they've seen from you before. But if you can add some urgency behind it, that makes it much more likely that they will actually click through and take that final action to buying it. If you have a promotion or a sale that you have, absolutely talk that up and let them know that the price is going to be going up. But also keep in mind that you don't want to use sketchy tactics. I've seen this on other websites before, where they say the price is going up and months go by and the price never goes up. And they keep saying the price is going to go up, but it never does. It always remains that same low price. So even if you do get people to buy from you that way, they're going to feel cheated. They're not going to like that. They're not going to stick around. They're certainly not going to recommend you to their friends or family. So it's not a great way to start a relationship with a client. So just don't go there. What you can do is, again, if you are genuinely offering a sale, or if you're about to raise your prices, if you're at that point in your career where you're ready to raise your prices, let them know before you raise your prices. Give them a couple weeks, maybe a month, before you actually go ahead and pull the lever on that higher price, and let them know about it so that they can take advantage of the lower price. And again, focus on that pain point. I talked in a previous webinar about the importance of your audience's pain point. What are you solving for them? What's the problem that you're solving for them that is driving them to your website in the first place? That is the reason they should buy from you, so they can solve that pain point and not have to feel that pain anymore. So what you want to do is make sure that you make that pain point really clear and let them know if they don't take action, if they don't buy now, that pain is not going to go away. They will continue to have to deal with that. And you could even say, you know, if you don't buy now, this pain could get worse. You know, maybe not having the legal coverage you need right now is fine if you're not in legal trouble, but what if something does happen and then you are in trouble and you don't have an attorney on your side? You're going to wish that you had reached out and gotten an attorney first, right? So find a way to add that urgency in a way that is authentic for your product or service and for your company. Next, you're going to test your design. So always test the content on your website and make sure sometimes a certain call to action or a certain phrasing or a certain keyword can have different effects. That's great for you to know that, but also keep in mind that the design of your website can make a difference. Maybe putting your call to action or your buy now button in one place is more effective than putting it in a different place. So play around with that. The example I have here is maybe changing the color of your headline, of your images, of your buy now button can make it much more effective. Maybe they're much more likely to buy if you have a pretty green on your buy now button rather than the intense black over here, right? So play around with it and see what works. There are all kinds of different things you can change in your design. Do not change them all at once. Change one thing at a time and do that A/B testing. See which situation works best, which gets more traffic if you're changing keywords and SEO stuff, as well as which actually has more engagement. How long are people staying on your website? And then again, that final thing that you're measuring is who's buying, how many people are buying. If you have more people buying when your buy button is a certain color, then keep it that color. Next up is perfect your headline. This is what it all comes down to, right? Because if people are searching for your product or service and you show up on that first page of Google, that's great. But if your headline is not exactly what it needs to be, they're not going to click through to your website, and nothing else that is on that sales page will matter, because it won't even have an opportunity to convert them into a customer. So make sure that your headline promises what they're going to get and that it, again, focuses on that pain point and lets them know that you're going to solve that pain point for them. You're going to make their lives so much better and or easier by presenting them with this particular solution. So you want to put that in the headline, but don't make it too long, because remember, this is showing up on the first page of Google. So if it's more than a few words long, it's going to run off and they're not going to see the end of it. So keep that in mind. Keep it short and sweet while also conveying everything that you need it to convey to convince them to click through. You don't need your headline to convince them to buy. You just need it to convince them to click through and actually read the rest of the content on your sales page. Use bullet points. So this should be a list of your benefits that your product or service provides, not your features. People don't want to know how you do something. They just want to know what the result is of you doing something. If it's a service you provide, if it's a product you provide, they don't necessarily want to know all the different features. They want to know the benefits. They want to know how their life is going to be better if they buy this product or service. So use the bullet points just to make it really quick for them to skim. People love to skim, especially when there's a ton of content. If they see a set of bullet points, they're going to go straight to it. And if they can see listed there all of these different solutions to their problems that they're feeling and they're experiencing, then they're going to be that much more likely to keep reading and keep engaging with your content until they get to that buy button and they finally take that final step and they buy from you. Make sure it's mobile friendly. This has also been true for your SEO since like 2012 or something, is that it's got to be mobile friendly. It has to show up well on someone's phone and or tablet, right? People are more and more using their phones and their tablets to do absolutely everything, from checking their email to downloading their airplane tickets when we're allowed to use airplanes again and travel again, and also to look up information online. They go straight to, they can just pull out their phone or their tablet if they have it with them. So make sure that your website looks as good on a phone and on a tablet as it does on a desktop. Make sure, for example, that your content isn't running off the side of the screen. And check it on different devices, right? If you have an iPhone, but you have a friend or family member who has an Android, ask to borrow their phone or ask them to go to your website on their phone or their tablet so that you can make sure that it looks good across all the different kinds of devices, not just the devices that you have. Make good use of images and videos. So this does not really affect your SEO, although it can if you use them properly. Images in particular, you should have little alt tags in your, it's like a little box. If you, it's a bit of code is what it is, but if you use WordPress on the side will pop up with this little box that says alt tag, and you can put in that alt tag any keyword that is related to that image that, provides a brief description of what the image is, as well as the title tag is going to be a title of that particular image. And you should make sure that the keywords are in there and they provide a brief description of the image. So that gives Google something to read, because again, Google can't read images yet. They're working on it. They're getting there. But they're still working on it. So Google can then read that little alt tag, and that gives Google an idea of what is in this content, what is in this space. And Google tends to go through and read all those meta tags. Alt tag is just one kind of meta tag that's in your content. Google is going to read that alt tag before it reads anything else in your content. So that's a great way to boost your SEO. And again, we are visual creatures. We love video. It's the reason that I do all of these videos, and we love images. So if you can have an image that's really eye-catching, really colorful, if you're selling a product, you can have a video that demonstrates how the product works and all the cool stuff that they can do with that particular product. That's going to be really engaging and much more likely for them to, again, go ahead and buy that button, click that buy button when they see how the product works and how it makes their lives better. You can even have just pictures if it's an accessory or a piece of clothing, these gorgeous pictures of people out in the world wearing these products of yours is going to make people that much more likely to go ahead and click that buy button. Client testimonials. So you want to provide social proof. You can talk yourself up all day long, and people are going to know that you do that because you're, at the end of the day, you're trying to sell something. It's not that you're a liar. It's just that you do have ulterior motives. So hearing good things about you from other people is going to make people that much more likely to buy from you. So you can have this little bit of text up here. You can also have video testimonials. Again, everyone loves video. They're going to be much more likely to watch a video than they are to actually read the testimonials. They're going to, want to make sure that it's a real person and you're not just writing these testimonials yourself. But written testimonials are also super powerful because people see people in their situation, people who are just like them, who bought your product or service and loved it, and their lives were made better because of it. And that's going to be so much more powerful in convincing them to buy than anything you could say, because you're providing that social proof. You are providing evidence from people just like them as to why they should buy from you. So it can be a video. Again, remember, Google can't read video yet. It's getting there. But it can read text still. But again, people love video. So maybe you can have the video and then transcribe it and have the transcription there for Google to read. So the best of both worlds. And people still love the written testimonials. Those have still been proven to be really powerful. Videos are better, but the written testimonials can still get you quite a ways. Test your results with and without links. So there are two kinds of links. There are internal and external. Internal links are links on your website to other pages on your website. So for example, on your sales page, you might have something about like, well, if you want to know why you need XYZ or why you should be interested in this, you can check out my blog post over here where I talk all about it. An external link is a link to another website, and that could be another way to provide proof and evidence to back up what it is you're saying as far as why they need XYZ. I can talk about the more than 95% of people who use search engines like Google to find small businesses, right? Obviously, right now, as I'm speaking to you, I can't provide the evidence or the data to back that up, but on the sales page, I could link to it. And that's how people know that they need content and they need to be strategic about their SEO on their website. So I could link to another website on that. The trouble with that is I'm risking that they won't come back to my website if they go to that other website. So I can mitigate that, and I do, by making sure that all of those links open up in another tab. So they're not just closing out my website when they visit this other website, but it is open in another tab. You still risk the possibility that they won't come back. They might get distracted on this other website, which is why you should make sure you never link to a competitor. You want to make sure it's someone, again, the content should be relevant to what you're providing, but not competing with what you're providing. So that's the first thing. And then make sure that they're actually coming back. And if you find that a lot of people are clicking away and not coming back, then maybe try it without links and see, again, this goes back to that A/B testing. See if removing those links gets people hanging out on your website longer and gets them more likely to click that buy button at the end or in the middle or wherever you end up putting your buy button. So again, play around with it and see, do some A/B testing and see which one works better. Hopefully you have Google Analytics. If not, get Google Analytics, because it will tell you not just which search engine, which search terms people are using to find your website, but also how many people are visiting your website, which pages they're searching, how much time they're spending on each page. Obviously, the more time they spend with your content, the better, because that shows that they're more interested and they're more engaged with what you have to say. You can use live chat to increase engagement. So this is awesome because it's a great way to engage everyone who comes to your website without constantly monitoring your website and actually being present there to answer all these questions. You can use chat bots where you tell the chat bots ahead of time, these are some of the most commonly asked questions I get about XYZ. If they ask this, here's the answer. And if they come up with another question that is not pre-filled, then send them here to fill out a form or to reach out to contact me or whatever it is. Live chat significantly increases engagement. People are much more likely to stick around on your website and engage with that chat bot. And if it can answer questions about your product or service that can help convert them into a customer, so much the better. So absolutely take advantage of live chat. Same with exit intent pop-ups. So this is when you can have a pop-up that's designed to appear when the cursor starts to get away from the page, when it hovers, for example, at the top of their browser, if they're looking to go to a different tab or hit that close button to close out of it. You want to make sure that you don't lose that prospect forever. So as soon as that cursor hovers away, you can have this pop-up saying, hey, don't leave yet. You can have that pop-up do any number of things. You can have a survey real quick, just like 1-2 questions at the most, I would say, of why they're leaving or what it was they were looking for that they did not find on your website. You can also invite them to sign up for your newsletter. So maybe they're interested, maybe they want to buy from you, but maybe not right now. Or if you're in a B2B industry, maybe they need to check with other people on their team. Maybe they need to check with their supervisor or make sure they have the funding before they go ahead and buy from you. So having that exit intent pop-up where you invite them to get more content from you is a great way to stay top of mind from them, and you can continue putting great content in front of them until they are ready to buy. Have an FAQ section to address objections. So with whatever product or service you provide, I'm sure there are the same objections you hear over and over again. I can't afford it, or I don't think I need it, or whatever it is. Have a section right there on the sales page that addresses those objections. If it says, you know, you think you don't need this because of XYZ, and someone will see that and go, yeah, that actually I was thinking that, that's going to catch their attention. They're going to go ahead and read that question, and then they're going to read the answer. And then you have an opportunity right there on the page to convert someone who's a little skeptical and convince them that they really do need to buy your product or service. So absolutely take advantage of that. Use social media share buttons. So don't think that just because they bought from you, that's the end. It should not be the end. absolutely encourage them to share on social media that they bought from you, and make it super easy, by having the share buttons, because then all they have to do is click. And also have a post filled out for them. Tag yourself in the post. Use whatever hashtag you want to show up for in that post. And again, all they have to do is hit share and it's done. It minimizes their work, and it ensures that you get tagged. It ensures that they're saying to their followers what you want them to say about you to their followers. It is a great way to organically get in front of their followers. So everyone who's already following them, who already knows, likes, and trusts this person, they're going to see your company pop up, and they're going to see that this person they know, like, and trust has already bought from you. That's going to make it much more likely that they're going to check you out and hopefully buy from you. So always take advantage of that, because it's a great way to just organically increase your visibility and potentially increase your audience. And that is it. Again, I am the owner of AV Writing Services. Thank you so much for watching this recording. If you have any questions, you can reach me directly at info@avwritingservices.com. My website is avwritingservices.com. I do provide writing for sales pages, for all kinds of website landing pages. I do blog posts. I do newsletters. I do not do social media. Don't hit me up for that. But if you want to do your own writing, but you just don't know what keywords to use, or you don't know what blog post topics to cover, that is another thing that I offer, where I can give you those keywords and those blog post topics, and you go ahead and write them. Or I can do the keyword research and write the blog posts, or I can just do the writing. I also have a blogging accountability group. That is also, the information for that is also on my website under blogging accountability group, under services. You can also look on Facebook for Blog Consistently. It is a private group. You do have to pay to get in, but all the information is there if you find it. So that is where we provide accountability, as well as tips and tricks for achieving your blogging goals. So every Monday, I'll ask about your goals for the week. Every Tuesday, I go live. I provide tips that are based on your goals, tips to help you achieve those goals for the week. Wednesday, we have a power hour. I call it Writing Wednesday. We spend 1 hour just working on that goal for the week. The idea is to set aside that time to make sure you're actually blogging every week. Thursday, I'm available for questions all day, and then Friday we celebrate. We make sure that you actually achieve those goals, and then the next Monday it starts all over again. So that is it. That is it for this presentation. Again, thank you so much for watching this recording, and if you have any questions, you know where to find me.